Hey folks, Ms. Gosling here. Today we are going to be discussing the greenhouse effect. First, we're going to discuss the natural greenhouse effect, how it works, and why it's vital to life on Earth. Then, at the end of the video, we are going to discuss the enhanced greenhouse effect, what it is, and why it is dangerous to life on Earth. So let's go ahead and get started by talking about the natural greenhouse effect. So in the natural greenhouse effect, what's going to first happen is the Earth is going to absorb solar radiation. So what happens is we have our sun, and the sun is emitting all kinds of radiation. However, most of the radiation is in the yellow part of the spectrum, which is very important. So that is going to go to the Earth and will be absorbed by the Earth. However, that radiation can't stay in the Earth forever. So what's going to happen is after a while, the Earth will re-emit that radiation, but this time it will mostly be in the infrared spectrum. And what's important here is that our greenhouse gases absorb infrared radiation, but not visible light. So what will happen is our greenhouse gases, which I'm going to go ahead and just draw as a little happy circle for now, our greenhouse gases are going to absorb that infrared radiation, and they will have some extra energy as a result. But again, like the Earth, they can't keep that extra energy forever. So they're going to go ahead and take that infrared radiation, but instead of emitting it away from the Earth, they're going to emit that radiation in every direction. So what that means is that some of that radiation is going to come back towards the Earth and get stuck between the atmosphere and the Earth. So these guys are sad and stuck between the atmosphere and the Earth. Now, this is vital for life on Earth because without our atmosphere and without the greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, the Earth would be too cold to sustain life. However, thanks to these gases, the Earth is warm enough for us to survive, as well as many of the other wonderful species on our planet. Our four main greenhouse gases are H2O, or water vapor, CO2, or carbon dioxide, CH4, also known as methane, and N2O, or nitrous oxide. But what allows these greenhouse gases to absorb infrared radiation? Let's take carbon dioxide as an example. Now, our carbon dioxide molecule has one carbon in the middle with two oxygens, one on either side. Now, in your chemistry class, you probably depicted these bonds as straight lines, linking your atoms to one another. However, this is not necessarily an accurate depiction of what these molecules look like on an atomic level, because these oxygens, 1 and 2, and this carbon, they are constantly bouncing around. So they aren't stuck in place, they're not static, they're moving, and the location and the length of those bonds is moving. So, one way that we can depict these is through a spring. And when we're thinking about the greenhouse effect, we're going to want to think about these atoms being connected on springs, which, like any springs, have a natural frequency. And as it so happens, infrared radiation, which again is emitted by the Earth, is at the same natural frequency as those springs. As a result, our carbon dioxide is able to absorb that radiation and eventually will re-emit it in every direction. For as long as there has been life on Earth, these greenhouse gases have been in our atmosphere. However, over the last 150 years, the amount of fossil fuels in our atmosphere has increased dramatically. For example, the burning of fossil fuels in our power plants and our cars has increased the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. Additionally, agricultural practices, such as the use of fertilizers and the preponderance of cattle farming, have increased the amount of nitrous oxide and methane in our atmosphere, respectively. As a result, more infrared radiation is trapped between the Earth and the Earth's atmosphere. We call this phenomenon the enhanced greenhouse effect. What that means is that our human practices, such as farming, driving cars, and building factories that burn fossil fuels, has increased the concentration of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. As a result, we say that the greenhouse effect, the effect of our atmosphere, is enhanced by human action, hence the enhanced greenhouse effect. Due to the enhanced greenhouse effect, the average temperature of the Earth is rising, a phenomenon also known as global warming. And so to recap, in this video, you learned about the natural greenhouse effect and the mechanism by which it happens. You also learned about what our greenhouse gases are and how our human society has increased the quantity of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, leading to something we know as the enhanced greenhouse effect or global warming. And there you have it, folks, an introduction to the greenhouse effect and the enhanced greenhouse effect.